To everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. That despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere, people will wait in line to see.
Disney's live-action Snow White was pulled from theaters after a wave of controversy and backlash. How did this film go from highly anticipated to a massive flop? Have you ever wondered why remakes often fail to live up to the original? Subscribe now to discover the shocking truth behind this disaster and get the inside scoop on Hollywood's biggest mistakes.
It's off the woke we go. I hope. Sound like I hear a couple of people. One, two. Okay. Two.
Those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood.
At first, Disney's live-action Snow White seemed destined for success. With a star-studded cast, including Rachel Ziegler and Gal Gadot, and Disney's formidable marketing machine behind it, the film had all the ingredients for a box office hit. The concept was simple. Reimagine the 1937 classic with a modern twist. But just weeks after its release, the film's reception quickly soured. Despite the star power, the nostalgia, and the hype, audiences weren't buying into it, said one industry insider. Even with a massive marketing push, ticket sales plummeted, and the movie was pulled from AMC theaters after a mere few weeks. The financial reality hit hard. Empty seats on the big screen were proving to be more costly than the potential revenue. Disney's ambitious remake, it seemed, was another casualty of miscalculated expectations.
Something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion, but the reality is she's just not stable.
Before Snow White even hit theaters, signs of trouble were already emerging. Rachel Ziegler, cast as the iconic princess, quickly became a lightning rod for controversy. Her outspoken comments about the original Snow White and the film's source material sparked backlash among fans. "I've never had an emotional attachment to the original," Ziegler said in an interview, which led many to question whether she could truly embody the beloved character. Her remarks fueled concerns that she might not honor the legacy of the classic Disney princess, and her public persona only deepened these worries.
Like, this is her operating level of intelligence here, just so you know, just her factory setting of intelligence.
Ziegler's casting as a Latina Snow White also stirred debate about inclusivity and representation. While some praised the move as a progressive step, others viewed it as a politically correct choice that strayed too far from the traditional character. But the controversy surrounding the casting was just the tip of the iceberg. The real issues emerged with how the film reimagined the classic tale, leading to further divisiveness. As one insider put it wasn't just about Snow White anymore. It was about everything Disney had done wrong with this remake.
Snow White condemned Prince Charming as weird and a stalker, adding that she hates the original. Nice start. Leaked photos from the set revealed that the seven dwarves had been sensationally axed, replaced by multiracial, gender non-specific, magical humans.
As the plot of Disney's live-action Snow White was revealed, it became clear that major changes had been made. Ziegler made it clear that this wasn't your 1937 Snow White. No prince to rescue the damsel in distress. No fairy tale love story. In this reimagining, the prince, now a criminal figure, was stripped of his noble role, and many felt the core of the story had been sacrificed for a modern political agenda.
It's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about
she's gonna die.
true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can.
Rachel Ziegler fueled the fire with her controversial comments, saying, "Snow White is not going to be saved by a man. She saves herself." This rejection of true love sparked a massive backlash. And let's be real, When you mess with the nostalgia, you're playing with fire. Fans were pissed. Not to mention, Ziegler's social media game didn't help. She fired up Twitter and other platforms, making comments that some felt were dismissive of the original film. When she said that the classic Snow White was outdated, that was the match that lit the fire. Her unapologetic stance rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Fans didn't hold back. Social media exploded with outrage, memes, and calls to boycott the movie. One user wrote on X, "Rachel Zegler doesn't even like the movie she's starring in. Why would I pay to see someone mock the story that meant so much to so many of us?" The hashtag #NotMySnowWhite began trending almost immediately, as fans accused Disney of rewriting the past instead of honoring it. Rather than winning over a new generation, the film found itself at war with its most loyal audience. Disney fans who felt betrayed by what they saw as unnecessary revisionism. But it wasn't just Zegler causing waves. Gal Gadot, brought in as the evil queen, became caught up in the storm as well. The tension between the two stars was so palpable that rumors spread like wildfire that they couldn't stand each other. Word on the street was that Ziegler had made some shady remarks about Gadot's background and political views. While nothing was ever confirmed, the whispers added fuel to the fire. The movie went from being a star-studded remake to a hot mess. Disney thought they had a winner with the live-action Snow White, mixing nostalgia, a star-studded cast, and a modern twist. But sometimes even the best plans go awry. The film, which was supposed to be a box office juggernaut, quickly turned into a PR disaster. AMC pulled the movie from theaters not just due to poor ticket sales, but because the controversy surrounding it had become too toxic to ignore. Fans were furious, and social media was ablaze with criticism. Disney, despite its vast marketing resources, couldn't manage the fallout. The casting of Rachel Zegler, who stirred the pot with her outspoken views, and Gal Gadot, whose presence didn't resonate as expected, proved to be a volatile mix. What was meant to be a fresh take on a classic tale quickly turned into a full-blown fiasco. Disney's attempt to manage Rachel Zegler's public image took a nosedive during her appearance on The View. What was supposed to be a promotional interview for Snow White quickly spiraled out of control. Ziegler veered off script, delivering a political rant that alienated viewers. "The 1937 Snow White is outdated," she said. "The prince is basically a stalker, and we need to get over our nostalgia." These comments were a bridge too far for many fans, who felt she had disrespected the classic film and its legacy. The backlash was immediate, with social media lighting up with criticism. Memes mocking Ziegler spread like wildfire, and for many, this interview marked the turning point where the film's chances of redemption officially ended. With the controversy surrounding the film reaching new heights, it was clear that audiences had turned their backs on Snow White. Despite the film's glossy visuals, star-studded cast, and massive marketing campaign, ticket sales remained disappointing. AMC, which had invested heavily in promoting the movie, soon began to realize that continuing to show the film was not only unprofitable, but also damaging to its brand. Even after Disney's huge push, audiences had no interest in paying to watch a film that had become so mired in controversy. What was supposed to be a blockbuster turned into a toxic asset. Moviegoers, especially parents, shied away from the film, either because they were put off by the controversies or simply tired of hearing about them. By the time the film was pulled from AMC theaters, the damage was done. The movie had failed on every level. The failure of Snow White wasn't just a box office disappointment, it was a cultural wake-up call. Once successful with live-action remakes, Disney now faces backlash for relying too heavily on nostalgia while pushing modern agendas. Joe Rogan summed it up bluntly, calling it a PR nightmare, arguing that audiences are tired of hollow reboots. The film's failure exposed a growing divide between traditional storytelling and politically driven reinterpretations. Fans felt alienated by the drastic changes, accusing Disney of abandoning the heart of the original tale. Instead of striking a balance, the studio leaned too far into messaging, and audiences pushed back, proving that legacy alone isn't enough to guarantee success in today's cultural climate. When AMC pulled Snow White from theaters, it was clear that Disney's high hopes for the film were dashed. The movie had become a casualty of modern filmmaking, where studios risk alienating audiences in pursuit of political correctness and progressive storytelling. The public's indifference, or outright rejection, was a wake-up call for Hollywood. Critics have since labelled Snow White as a disaster of epic proportions, not only because it failed to live up to expectations, but because it represented a shift in the way audiences engage with movies. No longer are they willing to accept reboots and remakes without question. Fans are demanding that studios respect the original material, not just use it as a jumping-off point for a new agenda. The Snow White debacle offers key lessons for Hollywood. First, nostalgia can only take a film so far. Ultimately, the story needs to resonate on its own. Fans will support updates, but only if they still feel connected to the core of what made the original beloved. Second, outspoken actors like Rachel Ziegler can quickly become the focal point of controversy, overshadowing the film itself. Her comments turned the spotlight away from the film's plot and onto her personal views. The takeaway? No amount of money or star power can guarantee success if the audience feels alienated. Disney's attempt to modernize Snow White backfired, proving that sometimes honoring tradition is the safer bet. Now that you've heard the full story, we want to know what you think. Was the backlash against Disney's Snow White remake justified, or did fans overreact? Should Hollywood stop remaking classic films, or do you believe these reimaginings have a place in today's entertainment landscape? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more insightful takes on Hollywood's biggest hits and misses.